If you died tomorrow, would your last day be proof you were ever alive? You scroll, you sleep, you settle, and then you wonder why your life is a joke. Winners, we don't have time to be weak. Every breath is war. Every second is a weapon. And if you ain't using yours, someone else is using theirs to conquer you. You've been sold a fantasy, a prison with painted walls. Every single morning you wake up and repeat a cycle that was designed to break you. You drag yourself out of bed, not because you're driven by purpose, but because you're terrified of consequences. You don't rise with fire in your soul, you rise out of fear. Fear of losing the job, fear of the landlord, fear of being poor. And they've convinced you that this fear is normal, that being afraid and compliant is what life's supposed to be, that as long as you're making ends meet, you should be proud of yourself. But let me ask you something brutal. When was the last time you were actually free? Most of you haven't felt freedom a single day in your entire life. You've been on a leash since the moment you were born. School taught you to obey, not to think. Your job trains you to execute, not to lead. And the worst part, you're proud of it. You wear your suffering like a badge of honor. You tell yourself you're working hard, as if effort automatically equals reward. It doesn't. The world doesn't pay you for effort. It pays you for strategy, power, and influence. The janitor works hard. The construction worker breaks his back, but they're both replaceable. The rich man doesn't break a sweat, but he owns the building. And you know it deep down, but you lie to yourself because the truth burns too hot. You've been tricked into thinking the path to success is through loyalty and patience. They told you if you keep your head down, save a little, obey your boss, and say yes enough times, you'll get your shot. You won't. That's not how power works. The people at the top didn't get there by playing nice. They got there by refusing to be average. They rejected comfort. They risked more than you're willing to even imagine. They didn't trade time for money. They traded ideas for freedom. And while you waste your best years clocking in and out like a robot, hoping for a vacation or a bonus, they're building legacies that print money in their sleep. You work 40 hours a week to make someone else rich. And what do you get? A rented apartment, car payments, and stress. You call that success? You call that life? That's not living. That's surviving. That's barely existing. You can't breathe, you can't think. You're too tired after work to chase your dreams, too broke to invest, too distracted to even realize how much time you're wasting. They designed it this way. The game is rigged, you're not even playing, you're just a piece on someone else's board. And they laugh because you willingly accept it. But here's the difference between me and everyone else giving you advice. I'm not here to coddle you. I'm not going to stroke your ego and tell you to manifest your dreams or journal your way to wealth. That's garbage. Real change demands action. It demands violence against your old self, a full-blown war against the weak version of you that's okay with being mediocre. You think I got rich by waiting, by hoping? I took what was mine. I built systems that didn't need me. I created value that multiplied. I escaped the hamster wheel because I realized no one was coming to save me, and no one's coming to save you either. Not your parents, not your boss, not the government, it's you. Always has been. And before you drown in self-pity, understand this, you have power. You were born with the same tools I had, a brain, time, energy. The difference is how you use them. I channel mine into dominance, discipline, and direction. You channel yours into entertainment, distractions, and excuses. But it's not too late. That's the beautiful part. You're not dead yet. You still have time. You still have fight left. That anger you feel when you hear this, good. That discomfort, that's your soul trying to wake up. Listen to it, use it, let it light a fire that never dies. Because if you don't, you'll blink and you'll be 50. Broke, tired, and full of regret. You'll look back and realize you wasted your prime chasing security when you could have built a kingdom. You'll remember moments like this, where the truth punched you in the face and you'll wish you acted, you'll wish you listened. So act now, before life passes you by, before your dreams rot. Before you settle for a life that doesn't even feel like yours. You were born to be a machine, a leader, a warrior, not a servant begging for weekends and holidays. Get up, rebuild, or be forgotten. I wasn't born rich. I didn't grow up in a mansion with staff waiting on me. I didn't wake up with money in the bank or businesses in my name. I came from the same world you're stuck in now. Stress, bills, pressure, scraping through the month like every step forward might be your last. I know exactly what it feels like to wake up with nothing and still have to act like everything's fine. I remember lying awake some nights, staring at the ceiling, wondering if I was ever going to escape. Not just the poverty, not just the lack of money, but the mental cage they had built around me since birth. The one that whispered, just get a job, be grateful, stay safe. That whisper almost killed me. There was a point in my life where I genuinely believed I was going to fail. I was broke, angry, and surrounded by people who had accepted failure as their fate. I looked around and saw no one winning, no one chasing, no one hungry, just men who had surrendered to comfort, clinging to their routines like life was some prison sentence they had to endure. And for a while, I almost became one of them. Almost, but there was a moment, a very specific moment, that snapped me awake. I was sitting in my cheap apartment, cold, alone, heating turned off because I couldn't afford it, scrolling through my phone like a zombie. I saw some guy on a yacht in Monaco, laughing with women, living like a king, and something inside me snapped, not out of jealousy, but rage. Pure rage, not at him, but at myself. Because deep down, I knew he wasn't better than me. He was just smarter, more ruthless, more focused. That was the night I stopped blaming the world and started becoming a weapon. You think motivation is enough? No, I was beyond motivated. I was possessed. Every second became a test. Every hour was war. I studied, I learned, I built, I failed, and I built again. I lost sleep, I lost friends, I lost comfort, but I never lost faith in myself. I told myself, I will never be poor again. I will never beg life for mercy. I will never watch another man live my dream while I make excuses. And that's exactly what happened. I went from sleeping in a freezing room to sleeping in 5-star hotels overlooking cities I used to only see on screens. And I didn't do it with luck. I did it with obsession. I did it with violence against my own weakness. I looked at the version of me that was scared, broke, and helpless, and I killed him. But don't get it twisted. The money wasn't the victory. The victory was freedom. Freedom to think. Freedom to breathe. Freedom to say no when the world demands yes. That's what wealth really is. It's not the watch, it's not the car, it's not the suit. It's the silence in your mind when you know no one owns you. That's what I fought. That's what I fight to keep. And that's what you need to realize. This isn't about status, it's about survival. This world isn't fair, it's designed to keep you compliant. And if you don't build your own reality, someone else will hand you theirs. And you'll live in it until the day you die. I've had men come up to me crying, saying they don't know what to do with their lives. You know what I tell them? Good. Feel that pain. Let it burn. That's the signal. That's life trying to break you out of the cage. But instead of acting, most people sedate themselves. Booze, porn, useless scrolling, anything to avoid responsibility. But pain is not your enemy. It's your ally. When I felt that hunger, that bottomless pit in my stomach, I didn't run from it, I fed it. With progress, with discipline, with goals that scared me. That's how you win. You feed your demons purpose until they become your army. You think I don't remember the hunger? I live with it every day. That same fire is still in me. It never left. Because no matter how much money I make, I'll never forget what it felt like to be nothing. I use that memory like a blade. Every day, every second, I stay sharp because comfort is a slow death. And I refuse to die that way. You can have the house, the car, the girl, but if you lose that hunger, you're finished. You might look successful, but inside you're dead. This is your story too. The difference is you're still stuck in the middle of it, but you get to decide how it ends. Do you give up and become another nobody? Or do you flip the switch and become the man you were born to be? Because make no mistake, you were born for more. You feel it, that tension, that frustration, that voice inside that says, this can't be it. That's your inner king trying to wake up. Don't ignore him, don't numb him, answer him. Because once you do, once you decide that the old version of you isn't allowed to exist anymore, everything changes, your energy shifts, your presence changes. People start to feel something different when you walk into a room. That's power. That's what real transformation looks like. And it all starts with a choice. Remain comfortable or become legendary. You don't have time. It's the first lie they fed you. That there's always tomorrow, that you're young, that you can relax. There is no later. There's no magical future where you suddenly become disciplined, driven, and successful. If you're not doing it now, you never will. I've met thousands of men who said, I'll start next week, and guess where they are today? Same job, same complaints, same paycheck, same weak life. Life doesn't wait for you. The world moves on, and every second you waste is a second someone else is using to lap you. That's the brutal truth. While you're sitting there thinking another man is building, while you're resting, he's grinding. While you're distracted, he's winning. And when you finally wake up, he'll be so far ahead you won't even see him anymore. The clock isn't just ticking, it's screaming. Every second that passes is a second closer to regret. Do you know what regret really feels like? It's not just sadness. It's a deep soul-destroying ache that lives in your bones. It shows up when you're older, when the fire in your body starts to die, but your mind stays alive just enough to remember all the things you didn't do. That's the worst kind of hell. Being fully conscious of your wasted potential. Imagine standing in front of the mirror, gray hair, weak frame, broken soul, and knowing the man you could have been, but never became. That version of you will haunt you forever. And guess what? No one is coming to stop that future. You are the only thing standing between greatness and misery. Most men never get that. They live in a haze. Years go by. Opportunities slip. And one day they blink and it's over. Do you want to know the scariest part? The world doesn't care. You think your sadness matters? You think your excuses are valid? No one gives a damn. This is the harshest but most freeing truth. The world rewards strength. That's it. Not intentions, not dreams, not potential, only power. You can be a good man with the best heart, but if you're weak, broke, and inconsistent, you're disposable. Women won't choose you. Employers won't respect you. The system will chew you up and forget your name. That's why I laugh when men tell me life is hard. Of course it's hard. It's supposed to be. It's survival. And only those with fire in their eyes and violence in their intent.
I talk often about the importance of trauma as a man. I think that if you were to find the most interesting or most capable men on the planet, they've had the most trauma-filled lives. I just think that trauma is what teaches you. We talked earlier about how you have to have lessons taught to you the hardest way. If you were to call a Navy SEAL and ask him to protect you going into a building full of assailants, you'd like to think that guy's been through some stuff. You'd like to see some scars, right? Lessons and trauma, and the more you go through, the better of a man you are. And if you were to find the best men on the planet, I guarantee they've been through a bunch of terrible things. And if you listen to podcasts from any of the most interesting people on the planet, usually they've had hard, terrible lives. And you can use that trauma to become a better person, or you can let that trauma consume you and destroy you. But I thank God for all of it, because it gave me endless power to become the person I am. The bad things that are happening to you are what you need to become the man that you want to be. When someone emails me and says, "This has happened to me," I'm like, good. No, what do you mean good? It's terrible. How else are you going to become important? How else are you going to find endless fire to get up and struggle in the face of the competition that's out here? How else are you're going to do all that with a nice, cushy life? If any man's honest with himself, think about the biggest transformative stages in your life. Think about the times you got the most work done. It was a bad part of your life. If you have a duty to your bloodline and a duty to your ancestors, and you truly love your parents, how can you still be saying a humbling video games being a lazy piece of shit? Don't you want people to remember them? Don't you want people to think, wow, who's this person who raised this amazing person?
Do you have something to prove?
I think everybody on the planet has something to prove. If you walk through life and feel like you have nothing to prove, then you're a fucking loser. If you wake up each day and go, I don't owe anybody anything, I don't have to prove anything to anybody, then you are a loser, because you are absolutely not incorrect. You must prove yourself to other people. You must prove yourself to your bloodline, as we just discussed. You must prove yourself to God. God hates the lazy. He can't stand them. If he gives you all these genetic dispositions and these natural God-given gifts, if you have 2 arms and 2 legs and you can think, and you're not trying your absolute best, that's the reason you're not lucky. He doesn't like you. He likes the people which show him the beauty of his own creation. He likes to give somebody building blocks and them to build something amazing. It's the best thing about being a man. You get to build who you are, right? You can decide if you want to be a funny comedian or a musician or a kickboxing world champion or fight the Matrix. You can decide whatever you want to be. God loves to see that. Those people, for some reason, seem to be enormously lucky, right? The person who goes, I don't have to prove anything to God. I don't owe all of my ancestors any effort. You know, For 5,000 years, people were dodging saber-toothed tigers and catching the plague and running from Genghis Khan just for my stupid ass to be born. I don't owe them anything. I don't owe them a thing because I want to play video games. These people are fucking losers. You should walk through Earth with force inside of you. As I walked into this hotel reception, everybody looked. Not because they know who I am, but because as I move, even if it's behind their head, people feel something and they go. It's an energy that comes from brutal competence. It's almost like an evolutionary thing where a rabbit can just smell a fox. It just knows. That's what happens when a predator walks in a room, even amongst humans. You pay attention next time you're in a restaurant. If a man who's truly dangerous walks in, nearly every other man kind of looks up at the same time. You feel it. You need to or you don't survive. We've evolved with that to live. That's who I am. I couldn't imagine not being that man. I've done that because I've been trying to prove myself to my lineage my entire life. I wake up every day with something to prove. I have hundreds of millions of dollars. I wake up and think, fuck, more. I'm in fantastic shape, 4 times world champion. Fighting the Matrix out here by myself, more. I will have to be braver. I must try harder. All I do is prove myself. So when I hear people go, I don't have nothing to prove, then you're a fucking loser. Peasants have never felt like they needed to prove anything. But kings felt like they needed to go and conquer land. Isn't that it's coincidental that the king, who already had it all, felt like he needed to go to some far-flung land and conquer it and take it and prove he's the king. But the peasants, oh, I don't have to prove nothing to nobody. You're a fucking loser then. You're a dummy. I absolutely and utterly, completely have everything to prove to everybody all of the time. That's who I am. I will prove anything to anybody. If I sit and say X, I will prove it to anyone. I can be checked at any time. If someone would have come up to me in that lobby and argued with my ideas, I would have proved that my ideas are sound. If they would have attacked me, I would have destroyed them completely and absolutely. That's who I am. So yes, I have a lot to prove, my friend. I think the universe is absolutely and utterly giving. I've never seen anybody dedicate themselves to something completely and fail. I've never seen somebody eat right, go to the gym every day, train really hard, and not be in good shape. I've literally never seen it. The universe is extremely giving. If you actually try, and you actually want it, and you're actually not making excuses, lying, talking shit, you're gonna get what you want. So when I see people who don't have what they want, I consider them losers. And this may be elitist, I understand that. But if I put myself through endless pain to end up where I am, it's very hard for me to have sympathy on the man who's afraid of pain. You're avoiding pain. I've been through endless. I now have everything I've ever desired. You have none of the things you desire. Am I supposed to feel sorry for you because you took the easy way out? Am I supposed to look at you and go, oh, poor dude? No, you were a fucking coward. You didn't go through the shit I went through. You didn't put it on the line. So you deserve your substandard reality. That's what you deserve. You're a fucking loser. Because if you actually wanted it and you actually tried, you'd have it. You could have anything you want. Universe is super giving. You want a fucking Ferrari, you can have it. You want that bitch, you can have her. You can have anything you want on the planet. There's not a girl I look at that I want that I can't have. Not one. That's my reality. There's not a car I can't have. There's not a house I can't buy. If I want to go to a yacht, if I want to go to Antarctica, there's nothing I can't have. Bam. Because I've decided to become this man. It's the same for absolutely every single one of you at home. If you want it, you can have it. If you're sitting there saying, oh, but I tried my best and I still didn't get it, you're lying. You didn't try your best. That is a fucking lie. The universe gives it to everybody who genuinely tries. And I know that to be a fact because this world's competitive. We're all competing against each other. And the majority of people don't try. Like I've achieved this amazing life and I've tried very, very hard. But it could have been harder. I mean, was it that hard? About 86% hard. It wasn't 100% hard. Why? Because the competition's zero. Everyone is a fucking loser. It's amazing to me. Everyone's a loser. I can say to somebody, listen, I'll make you a millionaire. Do this. Oh yeah, but the kids are home from school now. That's it. They're done. And then they'll sit and go, oh, I really wish I had some money. You are a loser. I will sit here on this podcast. People will listen to me for hours. And I will say, listen, I have hundreds of millions of dollars and I will teach you how to make money. CorporateTake.com, I have a school, university designed specifically to teach you how to make money. I clearly know how to make money. You clearly like what I say. You obviously believe I'm intelligent and integral and I won't lie to you. And still, a whole bunch of people will sit there and go, yeah, anyway, next video. And then they'll say, can't afford a Ferrari, and wonder why. Like, they'll be confused in their minds how they didn't end up getting what they want. Because you're a fucking loser. That's why. And the majority of people are losers. And this goes back to why, when we were saying earlier, how I know the elites view us. Because I'm from a council estate in Luton, a single parent household. And I've only been rich 10 years or so. And I despise losers. So imagine you're a billionaire born into a family, a lineage which has controlled Earth for hundreds of years. Imagine how much they despise us. You think they give a fuck about putting a bullet in me? You think they're gonna have any sleep at night missed? You think they give a solitary fuck about you missing your fucking parents' funeral because of the common cold? They don't give a solitary shit. Why would they? Because I already know how I feel when I listen to losers complain. Because this is what happens at a certain level of competence and power. You just get to a point where you're like, I'm tired of hearing your fucking excuses. That's bullshit. And you become, to a degree, yeah, cold and psychopathic. It's true. That's what happens. And I get it all the time. I get thousands of emails a day. Everyone I grew up with, people I know, I get it all the time. They'll message me, hey man, you know, just unlucky. You are not unlucky. You are a lazy fucking loser. You are not unlucky. You're breathing. You're lucky. The unlucky ones are gone. You're alive and you are a lazy loser. So a loser is anybody who does not have everything they want at the drop of a hat. That's who I call a loser, because I have absolutely everything I could ever possibly desire. And if I wanted something that I couldn't have, I guarantee you we could speak again in a few months and I fucking have it. I guarantee you. Because if I want something and I can't have it, I can't sleep. When I was broke, I couldn't sleep. I don't know how there's broke people out here sleeping just fine at night. Going, oh, you know, inflation's 20%, gas prices are 6 times, everything on the news is a lie, I never stand a chance of ever getting rich, where's my pillow? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you people? I go to bed at night as a teenager and think, I looked it up on the internet. It was a Honda Civic Type R. I wanted one. It was like 38,000 pounds. I had no money. I had less than 50 pounds on my bank account. Couldn't afford it. Then I looked up how much a Ferrari cost. 210,000 pounds. And I said to Tristan, my brother, I was like, there are people with 210,000 pounds for a car. And he's like, yes, so? I'm like, no, so. How? If I worked my job for 6 years and saved every penny, if I walked to work and didn't eat, I couldn't buy this car. How are people doing this? I couldn't sleep at night when I was broke. I knew that everything was a lie. I knew the Matrix was lying to me. I knew I had to find a way out. I was sitting there going, I refuse to live my human years and be some second-class citizen peasant when there's people out here who get to do whatever the fuck they want. I couldn't tolerate it, and I was so uncomfortable that it gave me the motivation I needed to escape. But the people who go, oh yeah, nice Ferrari, yeah. Back to the TV. Dummies, losers. And the thing about the world is, we need losers. I'm not mad at losers. If that's the reality you've chosen to live, you get one spin in this version of life, and you decided you want to be a loser, that's fantastic, because my cars need cleaning, you know, my hotel room needs cleaning, I have a party with all these beautiful women that's a bit of a mess. Please, go pick it up. Somebody needs to do that shit. I ain't gonna fucking do it. If I had to walk into a hotel room and clean up after some other man's party, I guarantee you I'd do whatever it fucking took to become rich so I didn't have to do that shit anymore. But you wanna do that for 20 years? Thanks, friend. Someone's gotta flip the fucking burgers. Someone has to make the fries. I want a Happy Meal now and again. But I don't feel sorry for you people, because you fucking deserve it, because it's a decision you made. You made that decision. If you're sitting at home and you say, I don't want to be a loser, you know what to do. I told you how to escape the Matrix. Tate.com. You can join. I'll teach you. But if you're going to sit there and go, nah, maybe this guy with hundreds of millions of dollars is trying to scam me out of 25 pounds. All right, smart ass. Have fun at McDonald's. Get fucked. I have no sympathy for these people. Zero. There are 3 keys, I believe, to making money. The word of the day. First one's perspicacity. Most people go through life and they do not pay attention. I've said this before and I want to stick by it because it's so important. You need to pay attention to every single time you spend money. because you cannot make money. You're not the Federal Reserve, you're not a government. Governments make money. All of us take money from somebody else or a business or a government. We take money from other things. So the easiest way to learn how to get good at taking money is to pay attention to every time someone takes money from you. So next time you buy a coffee, don't just buy the coffee and drink it and think nothing of it like every brokey. Don't do that. Say, okay, why am I buying this coffee? Okay, I want a coffee. All right. Why am I buying here? Well, this is on my way to work. Is there any competition around? Do I also want breakfast? Do they sell breakfast? No, they don't sell breakfast. They could probably make some more money if they were selling breakfast. Anyway, I walk in, there's a long line. Why is there one member of staff? I'm low on time. I'm about to leave and not buy the coffee. They're about to lose money because it's taking too long. Most of the people in this line are businessmen. Why is there not a cute girl behind the counter? I bet if they paid a cute girl a little bit more, they'd still make a bunch more money because people would come in here to talk to her. Think. And then what you'll do is, as you go through life, every time you spend money, is you'll realize the problem is not how to make money. The problem is how much time you have, because there's endless business ideas. There's endless ideas. I walk into a coffee shop and buy